I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
in Cruton.
See,
I did the mic grab.
You didn't get it. I mean, it's been a while since we've done this.
It feels like forever.
It has been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's been busy.
With Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst from Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at gpower79. Follow Next Level Athlete at Next Level D1. So we're going to go through and very Houston heavy and very big boy heavy. I like it.
You really stole the headline here. Is Houston heavy? The Bayou City, H-Town, Magnolia City, Clutch City, It's all Houston today.
It's all Houston today, and that's because there's a lot to talk about in Houston. Let's talk about. Oh man, I don't have a magazine. Let's talk about our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising magazine cover boy, Kenyon Green, Humboldt-Tascasita offensive tackle. We've had conversations, obviously, about him. We put him on the cover of our dang magazine. The Texas A&M signee?
Yep.
Yeah, signee. I mean, this guy has an argument to be the number one recruit in the class, I think. At least the one that's staying in-state.
Right. And the case gets made, I think, every day as this goes along. Maybe he is that number one player in the state. You know, it's a big deal. He really went out to the Under Armour All-America game and dominated the competition and practice out there and had a really strong showing in the game. And you can kind of see why as you watch his highlights play here. He's very athletic for a big guy, and his versatility is up there. If he doesn't work out at tackle, he can slide in and play guard. And I think that there's a case to be made that the day that he steps on campus at Texas A&M, he's the most talented offensive lineman on that roster from top to bottom. He's going to be a young guy. He's going to have to earn his stripes there, but talent-wise, there's no question. He has the footwork and the strength to come in and make an immediate roster impact.
That's the thing that kind of strikes me about Kenyon Green is when you watch his tape, and we're watching some film right now on him, is that he's obviously big right now.
Right.
But it's not just that he's big right now. He's also got that outstanding frame.
But look at him. He's 330.
Yeah.
It doesn't look 330.
No, he doesn't. He I don't know if there's ever been a guy who's a super athletic 330, but that's what Kenyon Green is. He looks like guys who look 330 tend to look doughy.
Right.
He does not look doughy.
No, not at all. And what's cool about him too, I think, is you always want to project these guys out at left tackle. Well, he's made a living being a great right tackle in high school, and you need those guys too. Could he play left tackle? Yes, but he's like a guy who could step in right away and be a right tackle in the SEC, and there aren't too many guys who can play tackle at that level very early on in their career.
Kenyon Green is a guy we've had our eye on for a while.
There's a reason why we put him on the cover.
Yeah, it wasn't an accident. I mean, it's not an accident. This guy's one of the very best prospects in the country, now signed with Texas A&M and going to have an opportunity to make some noise. Prospects on the rise. Let's stay in the H-Town area, and let's go to a place that's used to putting out big defensive linemen. But Spring Westfield's got an outstanding offensive lineman in Cedric Claiborne, a kid who is starting to turn a lot more heads now.
We left one of those nicknames off the list earlier, Hustletown, and that would be a good way to explain Spring Westfield prospects because these guys at Spring Westfield have been known to produce tremendous guys in the trenches for the next level. And not only are they great high school players, they seem to produce in college the hit ratio is very high there as they go on. And this guy really popped on the scene after a strong senior season. He probably shouldn't have went under the radar so long. He has the grades, the academics to play on the next level. But Florida State is an eye-opening offer. If the Seminoles come through and offer a guy in Texas, you're definitely going to notice that. And that was his first big Power 5 conference offer, much to the chagrin probably of Frank Wilson and UTSA, who was probably sitting in a really good spot to land him pre-FSU. That's going to make it tough for the Roadrunners, I think, to pull him in.
And another guy who plays right tackle at the high school level, but probably projects to stay outside, you would say?
You know, what's interesting about him is he's listed at around 6'4", and actually checked in at the Nike camp at 6'4", 278. So those are confirmed heights and weights from last spring. So he probably has the length of a tackle, but I think that he's a guy who could possibly be looked at as an offensive center. Of course, they had a pretty good center this year and a name that we all know. Singletary was pretty good there at Spring Westfield as a center, and Claiborne could probably play that on the next level as well. And you can see that he gets to the next level to make blocks on linebackers, defensive backs very easily, moves his feet really well, and he's very athletic. I really liked his senior tape, and this was an eye-opener even for me, who does this all year round, looking at prospects. Sometimes guys slip through the cracks a little bit, and Claiborne was a name we knew, but really schools and media were sleeping on him a little bit.
Yeah, here's a guy who I think that when you watch his film, the thing that stands out to me is he's a guy who finishes blocks.
Right.
He's going to get to the next level, and regardless of whether or not he's going up against an outside linebacker or he's getting downfield and throwing a block, he's a guy who finishes blocks and a guy who plays it to the whistle, which is certainly something that you want to see.
It's a bit surprising now as you watch his tape that there weren't more local schools on him, Big 12 schools, because he really does fit that style. And, of course, Coach Taggart at FSU brings that Oregon offense with him there, so I think it is probably a good fit. If no one else closer to home steps up, I'd keep a close eye on that.
We're talking with Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst from Next Level Athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. We're going to stay in the same dang school district now. Talk about our commit of the week. And this was a big one, a guy who certainly is no stranger to recruiting services this year, past years. Spring Decaney cornerback Marcus Banks made the call. This was at the All-American game, right?
Right, a Saturday in San Antonio. Actually announced that he was going to play at Alabama, but signed in December, so it was unique to see. I don't want to say that it was
the silent signee.
I don't want to say that it was kept quiet.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of knew that he was going to Alabama, but it wasn't announced in December that he was going to go to Alabama. Of course, that's public record information. If you really wanted to find it out, you probably could.
Yes.
But Marcus Banks is going to go play in the SEC, which is interesting because he was a one-time LSU commitment. A lot of people thought that he would end up signing with Texas A&M, and as you watch his highlights from our Next Level Athlete event last year, what you'll quickly see is his hip flexibility, his ability to close. He's got great closing speed, good technique, his quick, choppy feet. Yeah. He's not your typical Alabama defensive back from a size and perspective. He's not like your super big, buff Alabama guy. He's not Deontay Thompson. He's not Jared Maiden even, who have a little bit more size on him, but I don't think he'll have a problem playing there. You just have to pay your dues in that Nick Saban defense first.
Well, that's exactly right, and the thing for me that you're right is that he may not have those kind of measurables, but the thing that he's got ball skills and he's got closing speed, and he's a guy who can stay with a guy man to man, and then when the ball is in the air can make a play on the ball when it gets there. So impressive stuff, and another guy who's heading to the SEC with Alabama, Marcus Banks from Spring Decaney. And then let's talk about our underclassmen of the week, 2021. Let's go all the way to the class of 2021. Kid who just finished his sophomore season in the Houston area. Bel Air Episcopal offensive tackle Donovan Jackson, another kid from that prospect factory down there at Bel Air Episcopal, and another big boy, an offensive tackle. Donovan Jackson is certainly drawing some eyes now. The class of 2021 rather, he's going to be at or near the top of it. And
listed at 6'4", 310 pounds. One thing that you'll quickly see about Donovan Jackson if you see him in person is his wingspan, his length as a tackle prospect. I can't remember exactly what it was, but when we got it last year when he checked in at one of the camps, it was over 7 feet, I think is what I mean. So he's a prospect with a tremendous wingspan and offer list to kind of match what you would expect. He went out to the All-American Combine this week and was named one of the most dominating performers there regardless of position. He's a veteran of the camp circuit, and he'll be at our Next Level Athlete camp coming up this weekend. And to me, he's one of the odds-on favorites to be the O-line MVP at that event, but it will be a stacked group. There are some really good players coming there on O-line. All the early offers. I'm talking about all of them: Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. I'm not going to name any more because if you have those, I mean,
all the other ones.
Those
count.
are the ones he's considering.
Correct. And the other thing for me is a lot of times when you talk about early offers, especially for offensive linemen, guys are getting offered based on frame, right? They're getting based on size. This is a guy who, the frame's impressive, and that's helping, but the tape's impressive too, and this guy's got some skills.
Well, right now, you look at the guy's arms. I mean, that's impressive for a sophomore in high school. Maybe we're revisiting the possibility that we have another offensive lineman on the cover, but that 2021 class, man. Yeah. There's some dudes that can go on the O-line because you got Hayden Connor and Bryce Foster at Katie Taylor, names we know well. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see who's not only the top player in the state in that cycle. Latrell Neville's another guy who's really blowing up, but who's the best offensive lineman it's going to be a hot debate.
Well, that's it's fun to see, though. It's something that you can kind of see coming a couple of years in advance. The class 2021 offensive line class.
I think we would have been talking about that 5 years ago, like who's the best in 2021.
Yeah,
but that's the way the recruiting timeline's changed.
That's the way it works, and especially now, you're looking down there, and it's going to be loaded for class of 2021. So you better get your offers in early and often. And now we're in the off season. Football, sadly, high school football in the state of Texas has ended. But now it's camp season, and it's a big time for camp season.
Yeah,
it's a big time for Next Level Athlete too.
Yeah, we're having our big camps this weekend. The Top 100 Showcase is going to be held at Barbers Hill on Saturday. And
yeah, man, I have seen so many recruits tweeting like the
crazy,
the little the invitation thing. Yeah, the official invitation. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal this year. The camps are going to upwards of 200 prospects at each camp, maybe a little bit more, and the support has been overwhelming. A lot of top names coming to the camp. We talked about a couple of the offensive linemen coming to Houston: Hayden Connor, Donovan Jackson, Latrell Neville signed up to come. Those are some of the top 2020 names here locally in Dallas. Guys like Ty Jordan at West Mesquite. I mean, we could be talking about names all day long. Tykeus Crawford from Carthage, who was a monster. I actually compared him in an article on TexasFootball.com this year to a young Trent Williams, and I really believe that. He really impressed me. He's a very, very strong kid, and a guy who I'm really excited to see are some of these under-the-radar guys who the colleges and the recruitniks may not know about. A Shamar Turner from DeSoto, a Jaden Landrum at linebacker from Arlington Bowie. These are the type of guys who come out to this camp because of the date. It's an early camp date that people are going to be finding out about these guys for the first time. I mean, a lot of tapes I've watched and guys who are jumping out on the radar, even a kid that no one probably knows about, a kid named Caleb Fletcher from Schertz Clemens, who, man, his tape is really good. He's going to be coming to the Houston campus, 6'3", wide receiver. But we could talk about 400 names all day long. We don't have that long to talk about them, but the camp's going to be good.
It's going to be a lot of fun down there, going down Barbers Hill this weekend, right?
Yeah, this weekend, Saturday at Barbers Hill, Sunday at LD Bell. So if any media is listening to this, you want to come out, hit me up on Twitter, at GPower79. We can work it out.
He is Greg Powers. He's our recruiting analyst here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football with Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPower79 and follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1. Powers, appreciate it. Let's do it again next week.
Let's do it.